Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. Jujutsu Kaisen. Unlock the 8 secret arts at the start. Chapter 21. Can you get rid of that curse? Ieri Shoko looked at Ryuiki earnestly, a pair of large watery eyes, reflecting Ryuiki's lazy figure. When Ryuiki heard this, he paused slightly. If it hadn't been for the curse power of the 8 immortal thief treasury that had previously been swallowed was too great, and now that 6 immortal thief treasury had to work hard to digest the 8 immortal thief treasury, Ryuiki would have swallowed the embryo long ago. But now, the 6 immortal thief treasury can't use the magic power of the embryo and can't swallow the embryo, so Ryuiki naturally has no interest in making a move. Of course, he doesn't recommend sheltering Ieri Shoko next to him, but he really didn't think about it if he wanted to kill the curse. Why should I do this? Ryuiki squinted his eyes, looked at the cursed spirit that was constantly complete, and threw the potato chips aside after he had eaten, and asked rhetorically. Does curse need a reason? After hearing Ryuiki's question, Ieri Shoko quickly made a judgment. Ryuiki asked why he did it, without considering whether he could do it or not. That is to say, in terms of strength, this man thinks that he can completely eliminate this unformed curse, so he will ask the question of, why do it, and how to select, instead of overplaying it into the choice. Faced with such a simple question, Ieri Shoko, who has always been smart, doesn't know how to answer it. From the day she became a jujutsu teacher, she had never thought about such a problem. For her, jujutsu's exclusion of curse is like a person has to breathe. It's natural, without reason. But obviously, Ryuiki didn't think like this. He supported him with his hands behind him, his head slightly raised, and his moonwhite eyes flashed with a few unclear lights. In his eyes, there was indifference and indifference, except for the enthusiasm that belongs to the jujutsu master. Isn't there a reason? I'm really sorry. I'm not interested in this kind of thing. I can't do this kind of high-end heroic behavior to eradicate cursed spirit and protect humans. Let the hero do this kind of boring thing. Ryuiki squinted, as if looking through the embryonic membrane covered by cursive force, looking directly at the growing cursed spirit. He could feel that at this moment, the continuously forming curse was bred with terrifying power. Once that power erupts, all human beings here, except him, will have no life to survive. Even if you are not interested in saving people, you have to protect yourself. Once this super cursed spirit takes shape, you won't let you go because you stand by and watch. Hearing what Ryuiki said, Ieri Shoko didn't think about those brainless women. What kind of righteousness? The greater the ability, the greater the responsibility to suppress Ryuiki. But very cleverly came up with a key point. Cursed spirit is absolutely malicious to humans. As long as Ryuiki is still in the tent, once the super cursed spirit takes shape, no matter whether he shoots or not, he will become the target of cursed spirit. Ieri Shoko can master the reversal warlock, and his wisdom is far beyond ordinary people. When Ryuiki said that, she knew that the man in front of him was definitely not the kind of person who could easily persuade. Every strong man has his own unique path. Looking at Zenin Ryuiki, Ieri Shoko suddenly felt that this man was inexplicably similar to his partner Gojo Satoru. The same young, the same powerful, the same freedom. Kaka kaka, kaka kaka. Ryuiki just wanted to say something. But the huge embryo floating above the supermarket suddenly made a crisp sound. A weird breath appeared faintly. The surrounding space seemed to have ripples, and even the air became thinner. A creepy feeling gradually climbed into Shoko's heart, causing her to unconsciously lean her body closer to Ryuiki. Special grade cursed fetus. Hatching is complete. Base. Rumble. Sudden. The cursed fetus suddenly burst, and the tyrannical impact, like a storm, erupted centered on the cursed fetus. Ryuiki frowned slightly. The blue cross pendant on his chest appeared, and a translucent protective shield instantly appeared and wrapped him and Shoko in it. Boom. The explosion set off a strong burst of smoke, and the dust overflowed. A figure slowly emerged in the smoke. Human-shaped cursed spirit. Ieri Shoko whispered. Cursed spirit comes from the curse of human beings. The cursed spirit born full of negative emotions are almost all weird monsters. The whole body is covered with eyes or arms, or it is like silt, which is disgusting and nauseating. Only a handful of powerful cursed spirits can acquire the human form. Of course, it is not to say that the powerful cursed spirit must be a human body. But the cursed spirit of the human body must be powerful. Superior, but it's really ugly. Ryuiki stood up, standing tall and straight like a sharp sword, his whole body covered by the dark blue power. The brows are raised lightly, the eyes are like electricity, and the tyrannical power is all over the body. Looking at the cursed spirit in front of him with interest. Chapter 22. Chijiji, Jijiji. The smoke cleared, and a white monster with a tail gradually revealed its true face. His body was covered with purple lines and a pair of horns grew on his head. There is only a huge mouth on his face, and there are no organs such as eyes and nose. Chijiji. He made a cry of inexplicable meaning, twisting his body, obviously without eyes, but looked around curiously. What price? Ieri Shoko stared at the monster in front of him, his muscles tensed, and his two small hands gripped the corner of Ryuiki's clothes tightly. The moment the monster appeared, she knew that Ryuiki was not lying. The human-shaped cursed spirit in front of him is a well-deserved special class. In front of it, Ieri Shoko only felt that the blood throughout her body had stopped flowing. If Ryuiki hadn't been there, she would have fallen to the ground already. In the face of absolute strength gap, everything is a powerless struggle. What did you say? Didn't you say that you are a small boss? How much money do you want to get rid of this guy? Ieri Shoko remembered Ryuiki's previous introduction. Ryuiki smiled slightly. Working with smart people is refreshing. I didn't expect Ieri Shoko to go on the road like this. Talking to smart people saves effort, but it's a reward. I'll talk about it later. Pong. Sickle Gigi. The white cursed spirit suddenly exerted force, and a huge pit appeared on the ground in an instant. It's like being bombed by a shell. Chi chi chi. It screamed again and opened its arms as if embracing something. The next moment, cursing power appeared all over the cursed spirit. Empty. 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 The force like a hurricane began to erupt centered on cursed spirit. The tyrannical curse swept all around meaninglessly. The space sent out an overwhelmed sorrow brother. It is like a child showing off his toys, showing off his power in an unruly manner. Ryuiki's figure disappeared in front of Shoko like a ghost at the moment cursed spirit exerted its strength. But the barrier still protected Shoko. Ryuiki's whole body was enveloped by the magical power of the faint blue, and he ran toward the cursed spirit at a very fast speed. Actually left afterimages in midair. The tyrannical power spread unscrupulously to the surroundings. Chi chi chi. Special grade cursed spirit cried out suspiciously. He just formed, although he has a certain degree of wisdom, but only a child's level. He couldn't figure it out. This should be regarded as a human being by him as food, why would he rush to attack him quickly? Boom. Grumble. Rumble. Pong. In the next second when cursed spirit was puzzled, Ryuiki had already appeared in front of him. A fist was raised high, wrapped in a powerful force, and hit cursed spirit's belly directly. The moment the tyrannical force hit the cursed spirit's abdomen, suddenly there was a second shock. The blue curse power turned into a death rose, blooming with a terrifying aura. Boom. Click. With a punch, the surrounding space seemed to be distorted, and roses rose in the cursed spirit body. Gee. Cursed spirit's mouth opened wide, and a mouthful of purple blood splashed out of his air. It is extremely corrosive. But the moment the blood was about to touch Ryuiki, it was annihilated in the air by an invisible force. Patter. Super cursed spirit, after taking this punch, half kneeled on the ground. Blood was constantly flowing out of the mouth. The tyrannical corrosiveness eroded the ground out of holes of different sizes. Does one punch have such terrifying power? Seeing the incredible scene in front of him, Ieri Shoko covered his mouth in shock. Chiji. Kneeling on the ground, the super cursed spirit screamed and made a harsh sound. Grumble. Boom. Zzz. The sound was as sharp as a bayonet, carrying a terrifying force of destruction, and burst out toward the surroundings. Crackle. Crackle. The surrounding shelves, together with the glass, began to collapse under the sound. Pong. The surrounding space was faintly distorted, and the power of the sound seemed to form sharp steel knives. Ryuiki, standing opposite the cursed spirit, became the main target of this force. But, listening to the harsh scream in his ear, Ryuiki's expression remained as usual. The terrifying sound wave seemed to be unable to affect him at all. There was a faint smile on the corner of his mouth. The moon-white eyes flashed amusement. Is this your jujutsu? Use sound waves to shake the space and achieve the effect of strangulation. It's really a special grade. It's really a terrifying technique. The voice just fell. Ryuiki stepped directly on the back of cursed spirit in front of him. The tyrannical power was all concentrated on the feet. Pong. Rumble. That power exploded in an instant, and the unimaginable concentration of power directly broke the backbone of cursed spirit. Cursed spirit opened his mouth to vent his pain by screaming. But it was as if some invisible force destroyed his vocal cords. No matter how big his mouth is, there is still no sound. The special class cursed spirit who should have prepared a full meal, the special class who takes pleasure in killing human beings, at this moment, is like a poor worm, trampled by Ryuiki under his feet, like an ant. Chapter 23. Ieri Shoko, who saw this scene with his own eyes, clenched his fists, and the force was so strong that the joints were a little white. Among a pair of beautiful eyes, the waves of her eyes flowed, showing the shock in her heart at this moment, so that her mouth opened slightly unconsciously. Can pure physical power be able to achieve this level? Is this kind of flesh really human? From the beginning to the end of the battle, it only took 1 minute. Even the teachers in Jujutsu High School can't do this. In a millimeter, defeated super cursed spirit. In Jujutsu College, it's not uncommon to be able to defeat the super class people, but being able to defeat cursed spirit at such an efficient speed in such a short period of time, even his teacher Yaga Masamiki could not do this. During the whole battle, Ryuiki didn't even show any jujutsu, relying only on physical strength. He stepped on the terrifying super cursed spirit under his feet. Ryuiki has jujutsu, and Ieri Shoko can be sure that this barrier in front of him is the best proof. But what kind of self-confidence is it? Only to be able to make a jujutsu teacher, jujutsu disdain to use it, can beat a special grade without fighting back. Ryuiki only punched and kicked the entire battle. That super cursed spirit has lost any resistance. It's a monster in human skin. Ieri Shoko suddenly remembered his partner who was said to have changed the pattern of the entire jujutsu world. Who is stronger than him or Satoru? Ryuiki obviously doesn't care what Ieri Shoko thinks behind him, he made it because he found out. In front of the stunned cursed spirit's body. Hidden some kind of powerful cursed object. Weigh the pros and cons, but at a glance, Ryuiki acts in style and does not adhere to a secular perspective. He has his own set of formal guidelines. In other words, he is lazy, so he will not do anything except the things that he finds meaningful. If he finds troublesome things, he must solve the source of the trouble. If Ieri Shoko hadn't proposed to him in exchange for this kind of trade before, with Ryuiki's character, he might really watch this super cursed spirit kill all human beings with eyesight. At most, he will look at Gojo's sake and shelter Ieri Shoko next to him for a while. Even though, the super cursed spirit in front of him is nothing but an extinct existence for him. Without interest, he still wouldn't make a move. Even without using divine armament 100 refinements, the current Ryuiki, with the physical blessing brought to him by 6 immortal thief treasury, is enough to easily kill the special class in front of him. 6 immortal thief treasury devours everything and uses all the swallowed power to nourish Ryuiki's body. Now Ryuiki, even bullets can hardly penetrate his body. Don't say you are only capable of this, you should work hard, try to make me more interesting, okay? The strength on Ryuiki's feet keeps increasing, and his tone is cold and without a trace of emotion. The terrifying power, like a road roller, all poured on the back of cursed spirit. A crack appeared in the cursed spirit's body, as if it could not bear the terrible power of Ryuiki, and the white body appeared like a spider web with intertwined cracks. Kaka, kakaka. The sound of bone fracture sounded in the extremely silent supermarket, making the originally weird space even more weird. If hell, and the super cursed spirit that was supposed to bring fear to mankind is like a tortured ghost, suffering from endless suffering, but even being deprived of the right to make a sound. Kaka. At this moment, things happened. Under Ryuiki's feet, the dying cursed spirit, which was covered in cracks, exploded suddenly. There was a terrifying shock. Boom. The corner of Ryuiki's mouth was lightly raised, her eyes condensed slightly, and a cross pendant on her neck exuded bursts of blue, and the powerful curse power instantly spread all over her body. Shocking. There was a sound of breaking through the air in my ears. An extremely sharp claw, like breaking through layers of space, with unmatched murderous intent, piercing the void, and heading straight to Ryuiki's chest claw. Wherever the sharp claws passed, the ground was cracked, and the poor people who fainted on the ground all around were affected by the breath. Puff, puff, click. In an instant, the bodies of ordinary people were cut into countless pieces like a cucumber. But what's weird is that there is no trace of blood flowing out of the chopped meat, as if it were a toy that was trampled on by a child. Ryuiki, be careful. Seeing this, Ieri Shoko couldn't help but exclaim. With such a terrifying power, if Ryuiki were to hit him abruptly, he would lose half of his life if he didn't die. Compared to the dozen or so people who died, Ieri Shoko obviously cares more about Ryuiki's life, because she knows that once Ryuiki loses, there will be hundreds of people in the supermarket, including her. Absolutely no one can survive. Take it easy. Ryuiki's voice rang softly. It was still that laziness, but it gave Ieri Shoko an unparalleled sense of security. Chapter 24. Chiji. The white cursed spirit exploded with power several times stronger than before. Both hands were covered with sharp pointed claws, dark purple cursive power, wrapped around the sharp claws, with a terrible tearing force, inserted into Ryuiki's chest. Ryuiki looked at cursed spirit with a helpless expression. I really don't understand you cursed spirits. Hiding the clumsy is the privilege of the strong. Do you think you are worthy? Zzz. Cursed power continuously emerged on the sharp claws of cursed spirit, and that power quickly rotated, tearing his wound on Ryuiki's chest like a chainsaw. However, a strange scene appeared. No matter how terrifying the power on the claws becomes, it can no longer penetrate Ryuiki's body, even a tiny bit. Chiji. Cursed spirit regained the right to speak, and cried out in confusion. He couldn't understand. He had used all his strength, but why? It was hard to hurt this man. A cruel smile appeared at the corner of Ryuiki's mouth, and the moon-white eyes flashed like a demon flame in the abyss of hell. He looked at the cursed spirit who was at a loss in front of him, fixed his eyes on the other person's heart, and spoke softly. Found it. It was here. Base. I saw Ryuiki's left hand lifted up instantly, and the speed was so fast that he left behind shadows. In the midair, the powerful force instantly condensed and slammed directly at the heart of the cursed spirit. Come on. Chiji. Cursed spirit screamed like a frightened chicken, making a harsh sound. But all this is destined to be useless. The harsh sound waves seemed to encounter some obstacle in midair. Ripples continuously appeared in the air, canceling all his sound waves. Puff. Ryuiki's big hand pierced cursed spirit's chest directly without any hindrance, and the scream stopped abruptly. Papa. Papa. Cursed spirit's body began to collapse gradually, and the curse power of the whole body began to dissipate. Ryuiki seemed to have caught something in his body, and a satisfied smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. The smile looked like a teenager next door, with a bit of shyness and sunshine. Only Ieri Shoko, who saw how the cursed spirit was killed, would know. What a terrifying power this handsome boy who was like the big boy next door had in front of him. Sure enough, there is something. In this case, a super curse fetus suddenly takes shape, which makes sense. Ryuiki muttered to himself as he looked at the cyan jade pendant from the cursed spirit. Normally, the formation of a curse requires the accumulation of a large amount of negative emotions, while the special cursed spirit takes a longer time. And for this special grade, it only took less than half an hour from the gestation of the cursed fetus to its birth. This is beyond the cognition of the entire Jujutsu world. There is only one situation that can cause all of this. That is, a special cursed object, a curse with a special cursed object hidden in its body. Only then will everything make sense. It looks pretty. Ryuiki took the jade pendant in his hand. This jade pendant was engraved with a weird woman's head, with a little emerald wave of curse power exuding it. Let this extremely clear jade become even more noble. It's gone. The barrier in front of Ieri Shoko didn't know when it dissipated without a shadow. She looked at the cursing power that was dissipating all around, and knew that the super cursed spirit had been completely wiped out. Because the field of birth it was born will begin to wither with its destruction, and finally return to nothingness. At the same moment when the field of birth broke up, Yaga Masamiki, who had already stepped into the account, stopped his fast-running pace. With his strength, he naturally and easily noticed that the realm of birth was shattered. There are people besides the super-cursed spirit. Yaga Masamiki's eyes shrank sharply, and the special strength was not unattainable for him. The strength rating of the Jujutsu division needs to be higher than that of the cursed spirit. The first-level Jujutsu division can crush the first-level cursed spirit while being comparable to the special level. As a first-level Jujutsu teacher, Masamiki is confident that he can destroy this newly born cursed spirit, but he can never achieve such an efficiency. From the birth of the cursed spirit to its extinction, there was absolutely no more than 5 minutes. This is the absolute power gap that is like crushing. Only. Super Jujutsu teacher. Is it possible that there is a special grade Jujutsu teacher here? It's impossible. There are only a few special grades registered. Those old guys who haven't registered will not be able to get out. On this occasion, there will be a special grade. Yaga felt the fluctuation of his student's curse power, and the speed under his feet was a little faster. Now he is not only worried about the safety of his students, but also more concerned about who can remove that special grade in this way. If it is really a super Jujutsu teacher, then the pattern of the entire Jujutsu world may change. The strength of a special class is enough to cause the whole fusang and the world to change. Thinking of this, Yaga Masamiki's curse power exploded, his tall body, like a cheetah, ran wildly in the supermarket. Chapter 25. Inside the tent, the western entrance of the supermarket. A man in a shabby shirt walked slowly, holding a freshly opened bottle of beer in his hand. The black hair was splattered randomly, the expression on his face was also sloppy, and the triangular eyes were a little bit awkward. The whole person exuded a kind of crazy aura. His whole body did not have the slightest curse power, but walking in this supermarket shrouded by special grades, there was no panic or uneasy at all. With every step taken, with extremely tyrannical strength, the corners of his mouth were gently raised, bringing unparalleled confidence and arrogance. Jujutsu, it's rubbish. This person is heaven and tyrant. Zenin Shire, the strongest fighter known as the Jujutsu killer, or the strongest assassin. Regardless of how powerful Jujutsu is, under his keen senses, it is the same. In the entire Jujutsu world, there will never be more than one hand who can survive under his hands. He used his own power to kill 25 first-class cursed spirits and 3 special-class cursed spirits. It was also like Zenin Ryuiki, the poor guy who was driven out of the house by the Zenin family without the slightest curse power by nature. The domain is broken, it's interesting. It seems that there will be some fun in it. Zenin Shire rubbed his nose. Although he didn't have the slightest curse power and was born unable to see any cursed spirit, the almost perfect heavenly restriction gave him a perfect body and sense. He really couldn't see it, but no matter the hidden curse power, he couldn't escape his senses. Have fun, Zenin murmured, vainly exerting force under his feet. Base. In an instant, his figure disappeared directly, and the powerful force stepped on the marble floor under his feet into a deep pit. The speed is so fast that one can only see an afterimage in the midair, moving fast. ... Who are you? Ieri Shoko walked to Ryuiki's side. A pair of beautiful eyes stared at Ryuiki's face tightly, and this powerful man completely attracted her attention. Ryuiki didn't even look at her, but still focused on the jade pendant in his hand, like looking at some fun toy. I said, I'm just a little boss of the house of everything, so I can do things with money. Ryuiki threw the cursed object up at will. The blue cross pendant on his chest appeared, directly wrapped the cursed object, and swallowed it. This pendant is the highest masterpiece of Ryuiki Divine Armament 100 Refinements. Divine Machine Sky. It is the strongest cursed tool that Ryuiki has exhausted his efforts and has continuously blessed and refined since unlocking Divine Armament 100 Refinements. It has the ability to store and control the mantra power, and at the same time it has its own attribute adjustment, which can increase the corresponding speed and power according to Ryuiki's state. And the inside is a self-contained space, similar to a storage ring, which can be used for storage. You are very strong, but unfortunately there was sacrifice. Ieri Shoko saw that Ryuiki was reluctant to say anything, and did not ask. Instead, with a somewhat unbearable gaze, he looked around at the human being torn into flesh by the cursed spirit. Her reversal warlock can heal all wounds, but these human beings who have been torn to pieces, even if she is unable to recover. They created it, and died for it, but it's what they should have done. Even if they survived, they made a profit. Ryuiki did not comfort Ieri Shoko, but muttered to himself, as if to Shoko, or to the group of dead human souls. Shoko classmate, are you okay? Before the people arrived, the sound came first. Yaga Masamiki's voice rang from afar, and then the ground trembled crazily. Ryuiki saw only a strong man, carrying a somewhat cute tiger backpack, rushing in his direction all the way. Is it the principal of Jujutsu High School in the future? Ryuiki is very impressed with this guy. After all, in this world, the only person who can spank Gojo's butt is this big guy, a macho with a girl's heart. The user of the skeletal maneuver, Yaga Masamiki, ran all the way straight to Ryuiki's face. The eyes hidden behind the sunglasses quickly scanned the surroundings, and finally fixed on Ryuiki's body incredibly. In the entire supermarket, apart from the three of them, there were no more standing people. In other words, besides the Jujutsu master of the super cursed spirit, the one in front of you. Teenage kid. Teacher Yaga, I worried you. Ieri Shoko looked at Yaga with apologetic expression, sweating profusely. She knew that her teacher must have heard the news that she was trapped in the supermarket. You are fine, this is. Yaga Masamiki glanced over Shoko and saw that Shoko was neat and tidy, without even a trace of filth. He knew that during the entire battle, his students were afraid that they would not even be eligible to participate. But he also felt that this was right. After all, Shoko's abilities were more precious than those fighting abilities. It's just that he didn't believe that the young man in front of him who looked similar to Shoko's age could really wipe out the super class. Even with the pervert of Gojo Satoru in front, Yaga is a little unacceptable. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.